Greetings everyone. Do you have something that you've always wanted to put out on display? Never knew quite how to do it? Right here's some empty space, and I've got some things that I acquired, some rare antiquities that I'll share with you in a little bit, but I gotta get a shelf up here. I'm gonna show you how to hang that shelf, make it look nice, neat, professional, so that you have something you can put your stuff out on display. I found a shelf that I want to put right in this area here. I'm back in the media room. You can see I got my James Bond print, Michael J. Fox signed guitar. I did a video on that. I'll put a link to that up here. I got a really cool shelf that I want to put right in this area here to fill up this empty space where I can put those rare antiquities out on display. I'm going to show you how to do that so you can display something of your own in your own place. Let's get started. Here's the shelf here. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too big. I think it's going to fit perfectly in this area here. The first thing you need to do is find out where you want to place your shelf. What I want to do is actually center it between the print and the wall over here where the guitar is mounted. I think that's going to look really nice. Somewhere about that height. I have an idea. I kind of want the bottom of the shelf here to be in line with this matting right here. And the way to do that is to measure the distance between the 2 points and divide it in half. You take the measurement from the end of the print and to the wall, in this case, divide it in half and mark it. That's your center point. Then what I'll do is measure the shelf and then divide that in half, find the center point of the shelf, and align the two, and it'll be nice and centered. Measure the distance. It's just under 29. Divide that in half. That's 14 and a half. And you can somehow mark wall 14 and a half. Make sure you mark it in a place where the shelf will be so it covers the mark. It'll be somewhere up here. Now I'm going to measure the shelf. "16 inches. So 8 inches will be the center, and I will mark that and we'll get that lined up. One thing that's cool about this shelf is that you can see it's hung with keyholes, that kind of hardware. And what it came with is a template. You can take this template and mark the locations of the keyholes on this, and then take this to the wall and make the same markings on the wall. That way the holes that you drill and the screws that you put in the wall will be perfectly aligned with the hardware that's on the shelf. You can see now I brought the laser level back out. It's one of my favorite tools. It just makes things so much easier. I've got 2 screws to put into the wall, and I need to make sure they are level, otherwise that shelf will be crooked. You don't want that. If you put something on the shelf, it could slide, roll off, or whatever. It just won't look right. You've got to have it nice and level. Laser level makes it so much easier. You take your template, you've already marked where the keyholes are. You can hold this up and it'll show you exactly where to drill the holes for the anchors and screws. I'm going to go ahead and mark this based on this center point here, and we'll go ahead and start putting some holes in the wall. Now I want to talk a little bit about the hardware, because this is a piece that sometimes gets overlooked and it is so critical. I want to talk about the wall anchors. Guys, you have to use the wall anchors unless you know you are going right into a wall stud. I'm pretty confident because wall studs are usually 16 on center from any corner, meaning every 16 inches on center is going to be another piece of wood that I can drill into. In some cases, if it's not a load-bearing wall, to be 24 inches on center. Pretty confident this wall is on 16. I know this is not 16 inches off this corner. I'm not hitting a wall stud there, and probably not here either. So I have to use these wall anchors. Your drywall is nothing but dried plaster. It's very weak. It cannot support any kind of significant weight. And when I say significant for drywall, I'm talking 5-10 pounds. It's not going to be able to do that. You just put a screw or a nail and try to hang something that heavy, it's going to pull right out. You've got to use your anchors. Check this out. Look at the teeth on that wall anchor. What that does is it bites into that drywall and holds it secure And on the other side, this is how you drive it in. It's like a Phillips head screwdriver. No, it's like a Phillips head screw. You just put that screwdriver bit in your screw gun and it will drive right in the drywall. Before you start putting in the wall anchors, you have to drill what's called a pilot hole. It's basically just a small starter hole. The kit recommends a 1/8 inch drill bit, which is what I have here. You can see how small it is. All that's going to do is give me a starting point in the drywall for these big chunky anchors. They'll bite and hold tight, and you'll never have to worry about your shelf falling. Let's go ahead and drill these pilot holes. Believe it or not, I think I hit a wall stud. How I know that is I could tell how the drill was behaving. When you drill through the drywall, the drill wants to go right through. You go into a wall stud and it's still fighting, it's still biting, it's still drilling a hole in something, and you can really feel it. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and put a screw in there first just to see how it reacts. If it bites into wood, I'll be able to tell. And then I won't have to worry about that coming out, because the wood stud is actually going to be much stronger than one of the wall anchors. So I'd rather have it in a stud if I can, but because of the placement, I didn't think I was going to hit a wall stud. But hey, seems like there's one back there. It's kind of in an odd position. Not sure why, but maybe it was just something in the framing, the design. I don't know, but it's there. Now, because of this keyhole design, the head of the screw is actually going to go in to the larger part of the keyhole, then the weight of the shelf come down and secure it in place, and it's not going anywhere. So what I want to do, since this is going into a wall stud, I'm going to go ahead and drive the screw, but I want to leave about, at least for right now, 1/4 inch of the screw head sticking out away from the wall to give this enough room to go into the keyhole and secure the shelf. For this other one, I'm going to take the wall anchor now and drive it in just like you would the screw. You can see here's the screw that went right in, sticking out a little bit. That's pretty secure. And then here is the wall anchor. You see it's flush with the wall, and I'll be able to put the screw right down in the center of it and then drive it in. Don't have to go too fast here. Now we can take the shelf, put it in place, see how it looks. All right, sometimes there's a little bit of tweaking that you need to do because the room for error is small, but you can do some fine adjustments. Sometimes just tapping on one of the screw heads, if they're a little too far apart or too close together, you can tap on them a little bit. In this case, just kind of work the shelf and it fell into place. I do want to tighten the screws a little bit to lessen the distance of how far they're out from the wall. It'll just hold the shelf a little more secure. There we go. That's in place. It's looking good. Let's get the artifacts, get them on display. Sankara stone. Only the penitent man will pass. Penitent. Jehovah starts with an I. Oh, Baba Babutu! Momata! Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory. I think that turned out pretty well. If you like that shelf, I will put a link in the description below. They're not that expensive. They have a really cool lighting effect. As always, I'm the Capable Gentleman, showing you ways to go from dirty to dapper and to encourage you to never stop learning. Till next time, be kind, everyone. See you next week.